Welcome everybody to another Voice of Nick show. Oh, there we go. Trying to look at my phone here. It's giving me a weird feedback. So I bought this new coloring book, Epic World of Tolkien, and it's got like 1 million pages in it. It's basically a Tolkien, all of Tolkien's works. It's based on Silmarillion and Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, not necessarily the movie franchises, which makes it exciting to me because it's like, concept designs that aren't familiar. And probably way more pages than I'll ever get through. But the Harry Potter coloring book that I used to have, I actually ended up giving it to somebody, to a little cousin who I was coloring alongside, and she was really enjoying it, so I just gave it to her, and she was really happy. So that's no longer in my possession, so I bought a new one, and I figure I'll use this if I ever feel like coloring something rather than using the iPad. And I wanted to take a look at starting off one of these pictures. I don't have any colored pencils with me. I'm at home. I'm not on a trip at the moment, so I have a little bit of time before I go on the next one. But I do have markers, which I found in my closet, so I want to try doing a marker picture. And let's go on Google Images and find some reference pictures for ocean waves. This is a picture of, I forget which god of Middle Earth, Aloran or Orome, one of those guys who, the god of the sea, basically the Poseidon of Middle Earth. And it looks like there's some really cool colors that we can screw around with, so first, let's see if this bleeds. Okay, no, I think we're good, so we can kind of screw with this. Yeah, this is cool. I don't want my markers to dry out. Good. Take this one. Good. Take a little green. I don't really do a lot of work with markers when I'm doing art, but the instinct that I have is that it's probably going to be important to not put down really heavy strokes out of the gate, because it's one and done. You're not getting any layering on top. Like oil paints, it doesn't matter what you put down because you're just gonna keep layering things on top of it. You can completely change it. Same with acrylics if you let it dry. Colored pencils, it depends on the color. If you're putting down black, you're not gonna be able to put yellow on top of that without it being screwed with. Markers, you're not getting any layering, so it's one color and that's it. So let's see if we can kind of I don't know, get something out of this. So we have this is like a 2-page spread, this picture, but I figure we'll just do the 1 page for now. So maybe I can even move the camera to be a little bit closer to this page. I'm weighing this down with my Hideo Kojima book. This should be a pretty fun experiment for me because I will hopefully learn a little bit about using markers for artwork. Yeah, that looks pretty good. What does this come out as? This sort of works as the same color as that other blue, so we probably don't need to use both of these. I'm gonna say I probably like this one better. So let's put this one back in my other pile. Maybe even a little bit of purple. I always try to sneak in an unexpected color in there. The main thing is we're gonna wanna communicate he's sort of embodied here. It's a really cool concept design. He's embodied here as like a wave that is crashing down. And I guess he's using some kind of, I don't know what that is. It's maybe like a horn or something that's coming out of his wave. To start off with though, I figure that I would just do this bottom part so that we can kind of get a feel for what it's like making this one. Welcome Blanco Bits to the show. I don't see an option to give you bits. Yeah, that's correct. I actually disabled all the monetization on my channel. I appreciate the sentiment though. Thanks for thinking of me. And welcome to the show. We're currently working on a J.R.R. Tolkien themed coloring book. What are you up to today, Blanco Bits? So this part's going to be heavier on the dark blues. And let's pull up a few different things here. Welcome Ruizy11 into the show. We are working on our Tolkien coloring book. Okay, so hold on, let's go here. There's something going on with my air conditioning where it like rattles the door. The vent is like over the door. Okay, move this to here. Welcome, I'm learning English. Good to see you. How you doing? I'm learning English. There we go. I'm also kind of curious whether these markers are going to bleed through the page, but we'll deal with that later. I don't really plan on using markers for most of this. I ordered some colored pencils, but there's some weird issue with the post office making me pick it up from there, and like I don't really want to go to the post office and pick up something. What's Amazon for if they're not going to deliver it to my door? So now I'm procrastinating on picking up the colored pencils, and I am using markers instead. The other thing with markers is that you got to be careful that you don't put a stroke down on the page too many times in the same spot. Because you can make, markers have this thing where they like make the page soggy, and then you really don't get anything good out of it. I'm learning English thing. I wish I had this kind of talent to do these sort of drawings. It's, well, you can buy this coloring book on Amazon. I think it just recently came out. It was published like last year or 2 years ago or something. And yeah, you can work on any of these drawings that you see fit. There's a lot of cool pieces of artwork in this coloring book. So let's try and create a little bit of like sort of shading by just using a little bit of the darker blue here on the edges of the curl. Yeah, that's pretty cool. How are you doing today? I'm learning English. What's new with you? Okay. That's kind of cool. So I'm trying to figure out the form of what is happening here. I think this is supposed to be like ocean spray. So maybe we should start getting in a little bit more of the like this kind of color. We shouldn't be putting the darkest color in first, honestly. That's probably a bad idea because we can't go anywhere from that. Let's see what this comes out as. Is this like a, it's like a gray. Very light touch on this one because gray is still pretty dark. Yeah, this still comes out really dark actually. I don't have like a great strategy for what I'm planning on doing for the spray of these waves. Maybe this is more of a brown. Markers tend to be very heavy-handed. Oh, this one's totally burned out. There's nothing in it. Although that could be to our advantage. What is this one? No, this is too burned out. We can't get anything out of it. Maybe this one? Nope. See, that's like very vibrant now. It's another gray. Which gray is actually... I think this gray is actually lighter than the other one. We got to remember to keep a little bit of white in there too. For some of these parts, because it's very easy to overshade the page. Okay. Yeah, I remember how it is with doing these kind of like physical pieces of art, because on digital you can just instantly go back whenever you make some kind of move you don't like. But on physical media like this, you don't really have the option to go back, especially not with markers. So a lot of your time is spent, rather than doing, you're kind of sitting there thinking about what you're going to do. These like sort of pieces of spray here. We're just gonna get a little bit of stippling of this, which does kind of, I guess, work for the ocean aesthetic, because it makes it look more like kind of ocean spray. It's really important to me to make sure that you get in colors that are not just like, oh, it's ocean, it's gonna be blue. Like, so let me choose a blue and I'm just gonna use that the whole time. It's very important to me to try to get in colors that you wouldn't expect. So, you know, ocean has a lot of greens in it, and you know, I'm even putting in a little bit of purple to kind of accent the shadows, which I think works pretty well. I figure the more roiled up areas are going to be more kind of like greenish, maybe a little dirtier. I'm one of those people who's like very careful with his art supplies, so I cap the markers every time that I, stop using it. I'm also a person who puts the cap back on the water bottle every sip I take. There's like a line that the artist drew on here that's sort of screwing with me. I don't really like. But they did a pretty darn good job, so I'm not going to complain. I think that as it gets further from as it becomes a more important part of the scene, it should be less and less heavy with the markers, actually. So I'm gonna try and keep these sections we're gonna obviously darken we're gonna try and make it circular, because this is like sort of representing his arm. But the middle section especially will be like almost empty of stuff. This is a really cool concept design. I want to say it's Oloran, but I can't remember all this Valor, whatever names. Usually the book actually has a little thing at the bottom that says which character it's depicting, which is cool. But this one, I guess because it's the title page, it doesn't do that. Yeah, this is looking pretty cool. I have to step back. I'm actually looking through the phone, which is photographing this. Like I'm stepping back and looking through that, because it's like such a smaller frame that it allows me to see the thing from like a more objective viewpoint, I guess. Yeah. It's looking pretty cool. Okie dokie. I still don't know what I'm going to do for this section here, or really this, or these. Like, all the ocean spray parts are kind of, it's sort of tough to do within this like line art framework because it's such a natural looking thing. And it's such a like a ethereal looking, like very hard to nail down. So if we want to come up with a concept for this, hold on a second. Let's look at like a Norse warrior picture, if there are any that don't have anything on their faces like that. And ones that aren't drawings. So I guess these would have to be like from a TV show or something. They're all pictures from that show Vikings. I guess this is good. Alright, well, that's fine. So I would like to do this in such a way that it is very light. Maybe get the other accent color, and that's it. Yeah, it's pretty good. Now let's give him an interesting eye color, maybe yellow, like a golden glow or something. Let's take like a brown. This is interesting because this color is kind of dead. That's gonna be too much. No, it looks too sort of muted. What if we gave him like if we gave him like black eyes? Or yeah, this kind of really dark green, I guess, is pretty cool. Because, you know, obviously white eyes is the go-to, but yeah, you want to mix it up a little bit. He's a being of uncalculable power, so we want to get a little bit of something else. Now, if I were doing this again, I would have left a little piece of white for the reflection. That's my fault. Yeah, nothing to do about it now. I could put white out on it, but I don't know that I have any. Now for the beard, I think it would be cool if it was like sort of seaweed or something. So let's try and mess around with a few green options. Pull in this one. Yeah, that's good. Pull in this. Yep. Let's pull some pictures of seaweed. Okay, well that's interesting. This seaweed picture is like very different from what I was thinking. When it is layered on top of each other, it's very dark. But when it is sort of like alone, it's really light. So we need some yellow for this. Oops. This yellow is very hard to use because it's so insignificant looking. These two are kind of the same thing. What about this? This is dead, this marker. I won't throw out the dead ones, but I should put them in like a dead marker pile so I don't keep pulling them that we're not going to use. What about this? 高人さん、ようこそ。おはようございます。今日はこれはちょっと言葉が知らないけど、これはカラーリングブック映画も描きました。他の美術家から、そしてマーカーで色を描きます。これは J.R.R. トーキンの本、いろいろのトルキンの物語からシルマリリオンとロード・オブ・ザ・リングとホビット、これはミドル・アースの神だ。高木さんは今日どうですか？So let's try and get some interesting results with this. So we're gonna layer in some yellow for his hair here. I don't know, I guess the hair would be the same color, but I haven't really decided yet, so we just won't do that yet. Maybe this. I feel like there's an intermediate color we need to use between, maybe this one. Between yellow and green that we just don't really have. Yeah, there's really nothing else that kind of hits that mark. Now the thing here is that if we make a false move, we can't go back, so it's better to have to go over it multiple times with the same color in different passes than it is to just make one big move that sort of screws it up. This is coming out pretty cool. This one should be more yellow here because there's nothing really behind it. We want to be careful layering yellow on top of other colors with marker because that kind of, the yellow gets tainted by the colors that you're drawing it on top of. Let's see what this gets us. Oh yeah, that's good. The parts where his beard are thickest, you want to put the most darkness on. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And we'll do a similar thing for this, except it'll be a little bit more dark, because obviously we want it to sort of recede further into the background. kind of losing the seaweedish form on this back piece of the beard, but it doesn't really matter as much. Here as it does in the front. Let's get a little bit of cool. Yeah, I do like that. I think I will probably do it for his hair as well. Yeah, that looks better, that it's a little bit more covered with the color. Yeah, I like that. We'll just try and push some of the stuff into the background too, behind his beard. And let's get some blue into this beard a little bit more. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Now, we're kind of going to be fudging the seaweed look for his hair. This kind of has a seaweed texture that we can get out of it. The hair doesn't really, but I think we can sort of force one in. That's the thing with coloring books, is that you don't have to actually do what the drawing sort of... You can kind of draw on top of the drawing and make your own thing out of it, which I think is an important part of using a coloring book, because then you're really making it your vision. two of these greens look almost exactly the same. Let's take a quick look. Yeah, we're gonna lose one of these too because they're not getting us anything individually. It's good to kind of like choose a color palette a little bit. I know I mentioned, you know, sort of varying the colors as much as possible, but you don't want to kind of like muddy the picture. You do want to choose like a palette for each section. Yeah, that looks pretty darn cool. Oh, Blanco Bit saying, well done, it's looking good so far. Thank you. I've never really depicted this much water and seaweed and whatever, but I'm having a good time with it. I'm just sort of messing around. Really, the markers is the big challenge for me. I don't really use markers very often. But thank you. All right, good stuff, ladies and gents. So we have that, and then there's this other section of the picture over here, but it's looking pretty voluminous in the sense that like you can clearly see a curling here and a 3D-ness to his a sort of wave arm thing, and I really am happy about that because obviously the picture lends some degree of, you can see here that this does have some degree of 3D to it, but this kind of really enhances the curve of that, and hopefully we can achieve that same thing on this side. There's a lot of sort of fun little things that you can do with making a coloring book that, you know, we're not necessarily painting by numbers or just filling in shapes or whatever, but we're trying to sort of make it our own here. So we'll keep messing around with that. Blanco Bit saying, I know I asked earlier, but how can I donate to you? So I actually don't have any monetization stuff on my channel. But again, I do appreciate the sentiment. Yeah, I don't allow anybody to give me money on Twitch or any of the platforms that I make content on. But yeah, again, thanks for asking, and thanks for watching. And ladies and gents, that's going to do it for this one. The channel's called The Voice of Nick. If you want to see more, don't forget to hit the follow button. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.